Okay, last time we were learning about the candle lighting of Yom Tif. That we learned according to our custom, we do it like we would on a regular Shabbos. Okay, now you come to the Yom Tif meals, which is also a chiyuv. The difference is Kiddush. We learned already Kiddush and Shabbos is biblical, but the Chachamim said you also have to do it over a cup of wine. Yom Tif, the whole concept of Kiddush is only rabbinic, because it doesn't say anywhere in the Torah, Zochar Siyema Yom Tif L'Kachrei. So therefore, biblically, there's no concept of Kiddush, but the Chachamim said, nevertheless, you have to make Kiddush on Yom Tif. Therefore, according to many poskim, what happens if you have one cup of wine only? It's either Shabbos or Yom Tif, like this year, right? You have Shabbos or Yom Tif. Should I save it for Yom Tif or should I save it for Shabbos? Or if Yom Tif is Friday and Shabbos, should I use the cup on Yom Tif or in Shabbos? According to many poskim, you have to save it for Shabbos, because Shabbos is a more important Kiddush. So, obviously, if it's not Friday night, you don't say Yom Hashishi, because it's not Friday night. So you start with the bracha B'rei Pi HaGofen and the bracha of Kiddush. But we learned already, a long time ago, that there's a difference in the text of the Kiddush, at the end of the Kiddush, between Shabbos and Yom Tif, and it's also a difference in the text of davening. On Shabbos, by Kiddush and by davening, we say, Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadesh HaShabbos. Thank you Hashem who sanctifies the Jewish people. On Yom Tif, we say, Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadesh Yisrael V'Azmanim. Hashem sanctifies the Jews and the holidays. The Zman means the Yom Tovim. Why by Yom Tov do we say Mekadesh Yisrael v'Hazmanim, and by Shabbos we don't? Not only that, if Yom Tov falls on Shabbos, we say in the Kiddush and in davening Mekadesh HaShabbos v'Yisrael v'Hazmanim. We don't even say Mekadesh Yisrael v'Hashabbos v'Hazmanim. So we see obviously Yom Tov has to do with Yisrael, with the Jews, and Shabbos doesn't. So the reason for that is very simple. The Gemara says, Shabbos B'Katche V'Kaima. B'Katche V'Kaima means we don't need Bais Din to make Shabbos holy. The seventh day is automatically Shabbos. That's it. Yom Tif is dependent on Bais Din to make the Yom Tif. Because before calendars, Pesach is on the 15th of Nisan. So you needed Bais Din to proclaim when Rosh Chodesh Nisan was. Based on that, they would know when Pesach is. Same thing with Shavuot to a certain extent, and Sukkot and Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. So all the Chagim basically were dependent on Yidden. On the other hand, though, Shabbos is only Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadesh HaShabbos. So therefore, in davening and in Kiddush, we say Mekadesh HaShabbos because Hashem sanctifies Shabbos, not Bais Din, not the Yidden, not the Jews. But Yom Tov, we say Mekadesh Yisrael v'Azmanim because Hashem sanctifies the Jews, meaning the Bais Din, and they are able to make the Yom Tov holy. So that's the difference between the text of the Kiddush of Shabbos and Yom Tov. Okay, but again, basically all the dinim of Shabbos and Yom Tov are the same. And also again, Yom Tif morning, we also have basically the Kiddush and B'rei Pi HaGofen. Some say Elamer de Hashem, some say Vayidaber Moshe, whatever the text is of the davening. But the main thing again, like Shabbos morning, the main thing is the bracha. Okay? Now, we have to discuss this year because this year, Yom Tif, this week, Yom Tif falls out Saturday night. So it's interesting. Normally, on a regular Havdalah, we learned, you don't drink from nobody, besides the guy making Kiddush, nobody drinks from the Havdalah, especially not women. When we said, the world says, if women drink from Havdalah, they're going to grow hair on their face. So women don't do that. But by Havdalah, when it's Shabbos and Yom Tif together, and you're going from Shabbos to Yom Tif, that you have to do what's called Yak Nahazat, we'll soon learn. Then the custom is that everybody does drink from the wine because it's Kiddush. Kiddush is the primary thing versus Havdalah, but you also make Havdalah. So there's a lot of different customs what you do when Shabbos goes into Yom Tif. Okay? So first of all, like we learned, when Shabbos goes into Yom Tif, so before you do anything that's forbidden on Shabbos and allowed of Yom Tif, you have to say Baruch HaMavdil Ben Kodesh LaKodesh, because you have to separate between the sanctity of Shabbos that's holy, or you can't cook and do a lot of the other things that with Yom Tif you'd be allowed to do. So you have to make that separation. But the Kiddush is also, and therefore you have what's called, what the Gemara calls and Shulchan Aruch calls, and this is the language everybody says, Yak Nahavs. When it's Saturday night, you do Yud, Kuf, Hey, Nun, Zayin. Yak Nahaz. What is, huh? What? Yud, Kuf, Nun, Hey, Zayin. I didn't say the Hey? I'm sorry. Okay, Nun, Hey, Zayin. So you have like this, Yayin, the Bracha Peri B'Yagafen, and then you have Kiddush, and then you have the candle because it's Saturday night. No psamim, we'll see why in a second. Ner, and then you have Havdalah, the Bracha of HaMavdil Ben Kodesh L'Chol, and then you have Zman, which is the Shechion. Okay, that's the order of the Kiddush Havdalah Saturday night. Huh? Yayin, the Bracha of Rabbi Yagafen. Kuf is Kiddush, Ner, Havdalah, Zman. That's the order. It's a whole machlekes in the Gemara, Beisham, Beisil. What's the order? But this is the halacha like Beisil. This is the way we do have the Kiddush Havdalah Saturday night. So now you make Kiddush. So you make Rabbi Yagafen, and then you have the bracha of Kiddush. Now, because it's Saturday night, you have to make a bracha on the candles, because candle was invented Saturday night. Psamim, you don't have to make we don't do this coming Saturday night, you don't do psamim. Why don't you do psamim? Because you're not that sad. It's going from Shabbos to Yom Tif. So it's not like Shabbos to the weekday where the neshama is leaving and you feel bad and, whatever. So you don't need the psamim. But Ner, you need to make the bracha Beit Din because fire was created Saturday night. But there's a lot of different customs and opinions. How do you do it? Some opinions say you take two of the candles and you put them next to each other. That becomes like one torch. They say you can't use a Havdalah candle because you can't put it out. So you take two of the Shabbos candles that you already lit and you put them next to each other and you look at the candles and you say Beit Din. Some people say you bring the candles closer but you don't put them together. And you say the bracha Beit Din. And some people even go like this, with the fingers. Our minig, the Rebbe writes, and this is what we do obviously, you don't touch the candles, you just look at the candles, and you say the bracha Beit Din. You don't go with the fingers, with the, looking at the candles. So our minig is, when you finish the Kiddush, Mekadosh Yisrael V'Azmanim, you look at the candles, you say, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam Beit Din. Then you say the last bracha of Kiddush, HaMavdil Ben Kodesh L'Chol Ben L'Chodesh Ben Yisrael L'Amim. Then you say Baruch Atah Hashem HaMavdil Ben Kodesh L'Kodesh, and then you make Shechionu because it's a Yom Tov like all the other Yom Tov. You have to make a Shechionu. So that's the way. Now, what happens if a guy made a mistake in the order? You still fulfilled the obligation. You don't have to start changing things around. Because there are opinions that, okay. Now our custom is again to stand during that Kiddush. Yeah. Okay, so okay, now put the candles together, yes, okay. But most people, by the way, they put the candles together or they just bring them close, but then you go, our minhag is we don't do all that. We just, now. Huh? You're still benefiting from it. That's not a problem. There's a lot of interesting questions if a glass would be considered a chatzitza. They have a new thing for people that need to lane and they don't know the vowels and the nekudis and the trop. So you tell them the size of your Sefer Torah, and they have a plastic covering that covers the whole Torah. And so you put it over the words, So it doesn't cover the words. That's clear plastic. But you have the nukudis and the trop, so you basically, it's very easy to lane, because then you have the vowels and you have the... But there's interest, a lot of contemporary poskim write that's not good, halachically, because then you're not reading straight from the Sefer Torah, you're reading it from a glass. So then, but the problem is, according to that, then you shouldn't be able to lane with glasses, because then there's something separating your eyes and the reading either. But that's a whole separate discussion. But whatever. Now, what happens if somebody by mistake made Kiddush Saturday night and they forgot to make Havdalah? They make Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadosh Yisrael V'Azmanim Shachiyanu, and then they realize they didn't make Havdalah. So the halacha is they need to take another cup of wine during the meal as soon as they remembered, and they have to make Havdalah over the cup of wine. In other words, they say Beir Meirei Ha'esh and Hamavdul Ben Kodesh L'chel. They have to make it because they have to hear Havdalah.
But they cannot say Borek Ve'agafen again, unless they do bracha.
They don't. The wine bracha you don't have to say, because you said it when you, especially if you're planning to drink more wine later.
Yes.
Okay, so then you won't have to make a Borek Ve'agafen, but you'd have to make Hamavdul Ben Kodesh L'chel Ben Elochei Hamavdul Ben Kodesh L'Kodesh. Now, another interesting din, what happens if Saturday night, Shavuot, this year, you don't have any wine or grape juice, and you only have challah. Now, normally we learned you're not allowed to make Havdalah. You're not allowed to make Havdalah on challah, right? It has to be only wine or chamar medina. Nevertheless, poskim write that if there's no wine or grape juice or chamar medina, no drinks, so then you can make Kiddush Havdalah on challah, even though normally you don't make Havdalah over bread, but because it's Kiddush, and Kiddush you do make over a challah, so therefore you'd be allowed. That's what the Rama holds.
If you attach the Havdalah to the Kiddush. Since the Havdalah is attached to the Kiddush.
Yeah, because Havdalah is attached to the Kiddush, and the Kiddush is the main thing, so then... Okay. Next, as far as the meals of Yom Tiv. Now, Shabbos we learned, halachically, the Gemara learns out from Psukim, you're supposed to eat 3 meals on Yom Tiv. I'm sorry, Shabbos. You have to eat 3 meals, right? 1 by night, 2 by day. Yom Tiv, there's only an obligation to eat 2 meals. 1 at night and 1 during the day. What happens if somebody, for whatever reason it is, did not make the night meal, Yom Tiv? So then the din is you have to make 2 day meals. Just like Shabbos, if you didn't eat Friday night, you need to make 3 Shabbos meals. So the same thing, you have an obligation on Yom Tiv to eat 2 meals. Okay? Okay, another thing also, like we learned by Shabbos, anytime you eat a meal, let's say you're eating Shalosh Shudas on Yom Tiv, you're eating 5 meals on Yom Tiv. I'll give you another example. Shavuot is the first day, okay? So you're going to come home from Shul. By the way, we have a big milchik kiddush here in Shul. After the second minyan, not the first minyan.
What's the first minyan?
Huh?
What's the first minyan?
6 o'clock.
The guys are up all night. Sometimes they want to daven 5:15 in the morning. I know. Huh? If they miss the first minyan, Shabbos you mean, then they come to the second minyan. Then they get cheesecake twice. So,
What is the 3 meal of the Shabbos?
Friday night, Shabbos day, and Shalosh Shudas.
You guys don't eat Shabbos.
You don't see me eat Shalosh Shudas?
Chabad doesn't eat.
I'm Chabad.
Rabbi.
What are you talking to me? Chabad doesn't eat. You mean the holy Chabadniks? Spitz.
The last 2 weeks we did that.
And anyway, so let's say Shavuos, you have Shavuos morning. So you're going to go home, make Kiddush. You're going to wash and have a dairy meal. And then an hour later, you're going to wash again and have a meat meal. Yeah?
It's already 2.
So, no, I'm saying you still need lechem mishta by each meal.
Yeah.
So you have at night meal lechem mishta. If you ate 5 times during the day of Yom Tov or Shabbos, for that matter, and that applies to men and women. Like we learned by Shabbos, if women eat shalosh shudas, they have to make a meitzi over 2 chalas. If they sin and they eat shalosh shudas, God forbid, they're not holy Chabad. So then they would still have to make lechem mish, and they would still need to have 2 chalas. One of the things, Yom Tov is more unique than Shabbos. Yom Tov, there's a more obligation to eat meat than there is in Shabbos. Because Yom Tov, there's a mitzvah, Samachta b'chagecha. You have to be happy. And Simcha is only with Yayin and Basar. But Shabbos is Einig. Shabbos is pleasure, not Simcha. So technically, the minhag is you eat meat or chicken or whatever. But according to certain opinions in halacha, by the way, Yom Tov, you need to eat meat, not chicken. Real meat. Because Ein Simcha ala b'basar applies. This happened already the second time. It happened twice already now. So then you have to do it. So it's preferable to eat a mamish meat on Yom Tov at least. We'll discuss about the meals. Fish you're also supposed to eat. Al Yisrael.